Hey again, grade 7 band students. So I mentioned last week that we're going to be doing some recording. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how exactly we're going to do that recording and some tips and tricks to make our recording sound as good as possible. We don't have pro gear at home in most cases, but even with the microphones built into our devices or included in our headphones that we have, we can still make some pretty good sounding recordings and do some pretty cool stuff. Before we're ready to record, we need to make sure we can play the music first. So put in your practice beforehand and know before you go to record that you can already go from the beginning to the end of the song without making any mistakes. If you're trying to figure out the music while recording, you're just going to frustrate yourself in the process. So leave the practice for the practicing and wait to record until you know you're ready. A really honest way to test yourself is to see if you can play the song 5 times in a row with no mistakes. And if you get to the third or fourth time and you make a mistake, you start from the beginning again. Once you know that you can play the music well and you are ready to record, make sure you warm up properly before you press that red button. If you just take your instrument out of your case, hit record and start playing, you're not going to be at your best. So give yourself the full warm-up routine that you would normally do in band class, and maybe even play through the song once before you start recording. Once you've pressed the stop button, you're not done yet. Go back and listen to it. Make sure that it sounds as good as it can. Make sure there are no obvious mistakes in your playing. Make sure there are no loud background noises. Make sure your headphones were working and that you can't hear the metronome or the click track in your playing. You want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward because that's what recording allows us to do. When you're playing live, if you make a little mistake, we move on from it. We'll do better next time. But for the recording, you can do the next time. You can go right back and record it again. And even professionals, when they're recording, they are doing multiple takes and choosing the best one out of all the ones they've done and sending that one out. And if they do 4 or 5 takes and they're not happy with any of them, they'll record more until they are happy with it. For a virtual ensemble like this, being precise and accurate in your recordings is extra important. We can't listen to each other and adapt to each other like we can if we were playing live, so we need to make sure that we're all really on the same page with being exact with what we're playing and what we're recording. Now for the actual recording part. First thing, make sure you are in the quietest environment possible when you are recording. If there's a washing machine running or a TV playing or someone on a video call, all those sounds can get picked up by your microphone. It doesn't know what you're trying to record and it can't filter that noise out like our brains and our ears can. So take a moment, listen, really make sure that you are in the quietest spot possible. Even like a buzz or a hum of a refrigerator, if you're really close, can get picked up pretty loudly by the microphone. So the fewer extra noises that you have in your recording, the better quality it's going to be. The second thing is going to be making sure that you are using some sort of headphones, either earbuds like this or bigger headphones like that. We're going to be using a click track, a pre-recorded backing track when we record anything, and it's so important that that sound doesn't get picked up by the microphone. So if your device's speakers are playing your click track or your backing track out loud, it has no way to filter that out, and you end up recording that along with your instrument sound. So whatever type of headphones you have, as long as that sound is going into your ear and isn't being played out loud for the microphone to hear, you're going to be in good shape. You'll also notice that right now I only have one of my earbuds in, and this is something you want to do when you're recording because you want to have one ear open to be able to hear your instrument. So one ear for your click track, one ear for your instrument, and you can listen to both at the same time. And that's whether you're using earbuds or the big over the ears as well, just one ear on. Our next consideration is going to be our playing volume and the distance between our microphone and our instrument. The microphones that we're using are designed for picking up the human voice, and our much louder instruments will often overwhelm the microphone and create a very distorted sound. So we want to make sure that we're not playing with an overly loud, blasting sound. We want to have a healthy sound and a full and musical sound, but it doesn't need to be your loudest volume. In terms of microphone placement, if you're using earbuds like these with a built-in microphone or some other type of attached microphone for your headset, you're not going to be able to move that around very much. With this one here, it has to dangle from my ear because if I let this one drop or move anywhere else, you're going to get a lot of rubbing noises if it touches anything. And obviously, we don't want those sounds getting picked up in our recording. If you're using headphones that do not have a microphone, that means that you're going to be using the built-in mic on your device, which actually gives us some more options in terms of controlling our microphone placement. For instruments like trumpet and trombone and saxophones that have a bell and project the sound forwards, what we're going to want to do is turn our bodies when we're playing and turn our instrument so we're not pointing our sound straight at the microphone anymore. And that way we can get rid of a lot of that overexposure to the sound that tends to cause a distortion. The other thing we can do too is we can try to put a little bit more distance between us and the microphone by moving our body away from our device as much as your headphones cable will allow. Something else that we're going to have to work around is the fact that a lot of the tools we're using will automatically adjust your volume for you. This is really, really annoying if you're in the middle of recording some music and the volume suddenly jumps higher or lower if the software thinks that you're being too loud or too quiet. So to work around that, what we're going to do is when we start a recording, before we actually start playing the song, the first few seconds of our recording is going to be a calibration period that will help us adjust our volume levels for the software, and also will create a time marker that will make it a lot easier for me to take everyone's audio files and line them up in time so that we're playing together. So the idea is that you'll have a count in and then play a calibration note, and it's just going to be a concert B flat at the volume you're going to play the song at. And if any adjustments happen to your microphone volume level during that calibration note, great, that's when we want them to happen. Then there'll be another count in and you'll begin the song. Later on, I'll take everyone's recorded files and I will chop off the beginning of the song. I'll get rid of that calibration note and we'll hear just the beginning of the song after the volume's been calibrated already. Now, in the song, if you have a big long rest or if you have a lot of dynamics and you're going louder and you're going softer, there's a chance that that automatic calibration could still come back again. But I found that it most often happens right at the very beginning of the song when you first start playing. So by doing a calibration note at the beginning of your recording, that'll get rid of most of our problems with the automatic volume adjustment. And if you do have the ability to try out different microphones, whether that's built-in microphones on your device or different microphones on your earbuds or headphones, try them out and see what sounds best. Different microphones in combination with different instruments, they're all going to work together differently. So use your ears and just see what actually works best for your instrument. If you're recording on a computer, most programs are pretty good about letting you listen to the backing track in one program while recording into another program. You don't need anything fancy. The voice recorder program that comes standard on a Windows computer will do that job just fine. On my Mac here, I've got a free program called Simple Recorder that I downloaded that works. Also on my screen here, if you want to get a little fancier, I've got a program called Audacity. It's a free program that will run on any kind of laptop, any type of computer, and it'll allow you to import the backing track that I send you, and then in the same program record your take on top of that and listen back to both at the same time. Make sure your timing it lines up with the metronome, and if you want to delete your take and try again, it's very easy to do in a program like Audacity. You can do a similar thing in GarageBand if you have that on any of your devices. Most tablets and phones will not let you keep listening to something when you press the record button. So we're going to need to make sure that we've got a specialized recording app to be able to do what we need to do on mobile devices. If you are on a Apple iPad or an iPhone, GarageBand is also available on those, and that is a great option that will let you import the backing track that you can listen to while you play your part. There are other multi-track recording apps available out there. There are some free ones. Keywords multi-track recording is what you're looking for. The other option too is if you have access, even just temporarily for your recording, to an extra device. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't need to be able to run smart music or Teams. But if you can have two devices going for the, once you've done your practicing, it should only take you 5 or 10 minutes of recording time to get your part down. You could have one as your recording device and the other as your backing track listening device. And that way, you're able to do both at the same time. So if you're doing this method, take whatever your recording device is, and when you're ready to go, hit record on that first as your first step. It's going to record some extra empty time while you're getting yourself set up, and that's fine. When you're ready, when you've got your instrument, take whatever your listening device is going to be for the backing track, and this has already been recording the whole time. Don't worry, we'll chop that out. We'll hit play on our backing track. It'll count you in for your timing and calibration note. You play that, and then it counts you into the real song. You play that, end your recording, and then you can send your recording to me just like that. And because of that timing and calibration note, all the extra empty space before you start playing when you're getting your other device set up, I'll be able to chop that out just fine. So that's not a problem. Even a metronome can be your click track if it's a digital one that you can plug headphones into. So long as you've got it set to the correct speed and you do your count in with the calibration note, this works just fine as your metronome track. It's the same thing. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, but hopefully you have enough now to be able to get started with experimenting with recording while listening to a click track or a backing track in your earphones at the same time. If you want to try out GarageBand or Audacity, there are lots of great resources and instructional how-to videos on YouTube that you can check out for those programs. So go ahead and take a look for the information that you need if you want to try those programs out. I'm going to leave you with a proof of concept video that I did, just showing what this can sound like using the click track with the calibration note and just microphones on my laptop and in my earbuds. So nothing fancy about it at all. It's exactly what I'm hoping that you guys will be able to do too. Just make sure that when you're recording, make sure you're just sending me a sound file. I don't want you sending me video. Video's too big to work with, and I'm just gonna end up having to strip the video away and just take the audio out, and it's a lot of extra work I don't want to have to do. Also, make sure you're sending me your best takes. Do multiple takes, listen back to them, make sure that your playing is the best it can be, make sure there's no extra sounds that are getting caught by the microphone that are really going to interfere with the final product, because I don't have any magic way to filter that sound out. So without further ado, with no fancy editing, no fancy equipment, here is what a virtual ensemble can sound like.